Alright guys, so welcome to today's video, and in today's video we are going to work on this One Piece game right here, and I planned on creating the moves already. So as you guys should know, because of watching previous episodes of course, so at least I hope so, we have been working on this GUI display right here for many episodes now, and yeah, so we are now going to work on the moves now, okay? Alright. So let's go inside of this combat script right here. And as you can see, we should focus on this one. Okay, so on this thing. Because I'm not gonna explain it, you guys should know what this code does. Otherwise, when I try to explain, I'll consume much more time than we actually should, because I have already explained those parts. Okay, so watch the episodes before to know about this script. Okay, now, in order to check for another keys which have been pressed, you can just do the following. So input key code double equals unum key code, and now any key. Okay. So I'm gonna use Q, and then the second requirement is that equipped, so that equipped is true, and that enabled is false. So if these requirements are true, then we want to do our, what was it, heavy punch. Yeah, heavy punch. That's the thing we are going to do. And yeah, so that's basically the way on how you can make this heavy punch right here work when you have pressed Q. Alright, there is probably a much more, well, a much optimized and better way to check for all of these keys automatically, and then to fire server depending on what your thing right here is. I'm actually thinking about working on that. Come on, why shouldn't we? Okay, so let me work on that pretty quickly. So let's go inside of this GUI first of all. Okay, where is it? Skills frame, combat. Because we will need this module script right here. So you guys should know what this one does. So we are requiring this combat skills module script, which basically holds all of the combat moves information, and we will need them in order to check which key has been pressed and which key is representing which move, and what requirements are actually required in order to be able to attack with that move whatsoever, guys. So that's all about this module script. And let's go back inside of this local script right here, and what we want to do now is that we want to loop through this combat module, okay? Basically this table. And let's do so. Or let me actually put this inside of here. Yeah. So I'm putting it inside of here. And then I'm gonna loop through this one for a second time. So I have already done this in, right here. So you guys should know what this does. So we are basically, so when we speak of this loop, we are looping through this and this, okay? So only through these indexes and this table. Okay, so we only recognize that there is a table, but we still haven't got any access to its content, okay? But the more important thing for us is its content, of course, because we want to check or we want to compare the keys together. So the key we have been pressed and the key which is required in order to make this move right here, okay? And in order to be able to access this table, we want to loop through this V. And this V basically represents the whole table, okay? And just for your knowledge, I, aka the index, represents this, okay? So, let me get rid of this one. So, in this case now, we are looping through the content of the table. So do you see the difference? I'm not marking those curly brackets, but the content of those curly brackets, aka the table. And I2, so I and a 2, so index 2 is now this, this, and this, and V2 is this, this, and this, okay? And we now want to do the following. So if I2 is key, means we are currently at the key, then we want to check if input key code equals V2. So if that's the case, then I only want to print I. And I'm going to explain you what this is supposed to do. So if one of those keys right here have been pressed, then it is going to print out the name of the move. So that's basically what I want to do. And as you can see, it already does work, but I didn't even have my combat equipped on, you know? And that is because we have forgot one more requirement we have to make. So if input key code equals V2 and equipped is true and enable is false. So those are the same two requirements up here. And it now has worked. So just for additional knowledge. So V2, okay, do not be confused. V2 is basically this or this, okay? And we have already assigned those keys to those attacks, okay? So keep that in mind. All right. So we can now copy this code. Maybe, increase the cooldown. And now instead of basic combat, we can say I. Because I is the index, which is the name of the move, okay? So our indexes are also the name of our moves. So I have just set the table up like that. All right, now there is one more thing missing within this, let's call it system. And that is the check for the requirements, guys. And that's actually the part where this whole thing becomes more difficult, because let's take a look at how we have dealt with it right here. So I have had this code right here, let's say, and I'm gonna clone this one, copy this one and paste it inside of here, because this is going to get more interesting now. So come on. So there we go. Not be confused or anything. I'm gonna explain this, so do not worry. Come on. So let me just move them correctly. So there is probably a lot of stuff we have to get rid of. Okay, so let me just start over. I think that we can get rid of this one. And we can get rid of this one. Okay. Now just the final check. failed to unlock equals false, then we can move on. All right, guys. Yeah, so I think that this is actually it. So we have now scripted this requirement check, let's say. There is still this variable right here missing, so I'm thinking about the spot where I can insert it. Okay, so let's test this out. Let's see if this is going to work out as expected. And I'm gonna press Q and R now. And as you can see, nothing is being printed out inside of this output, and that is because we haven't added this inside of our scripting. So let me add it right here. As you can see, print I is back as it was before. And now when I press Q or R, it should print out, it should not print out something because we have added our two other requirements. So now when I press 1 and equip the combat, it should print this out. And as you can see, I'm spamming both keys at the same time, but it takes a lot of time for each move to be printed out, and that's the sign for us that the cooldown works as well. Okay, so everything seems to work, but we have not really tested out those requirements yet. So let me revert my stats, or let me at least make one of my stats be drop below those requirements, okay? Just to see how this whole thing is gonna react. And as you can see, it did not. Okay, now it did. So it didn't update. Okay, it's still able to do heavy punch and everything else. Alright, so it seems that there is something missing we have to add. And that is probably this thing right here. Yeah, probably. Let's see. Wait. No, wait. Yeah, so the issue is that we haven't updated those I2s with I3, and I'm gonna explain you guys what I3 actually is and what V3 actually is. So do not worry, I just want to see if this works. So if it works, then I'm gonna explain it, of course. So let me equip this one. As you can see, everything is unlocked. So we have to revert our stats, as you guys should know. So let's drop this to 1. Everything still seems to be unlocked, and now when we re-equip it, everything is locked. Now let me press Q. Okay, does work. Let me press R. Does work as well. Okay. But the requirements don't work. Wait. I mean, the cooldown doesn't work. So it prints out the stuff, but the cooldown doesn't seem to work. Okay? And do you know what kind of sign this is? So let me explain you what has just happened. So we have gotten to this part, or to these parts, so we have passed them. Maybe those as well, okay? So it has printed out this, okay? Which leads us to the conclusion that this whole thing did not work, but that's a totally wrong conclusion. So if we really want to see if everything has worked, so this requirements thing has worked, we have to put the print inside of here, because this is our final check. This check determines whether the move is still locked or is unlocked to us. And this check right here has worked, okay? So we were unable to unlock this, okay? So failed to unlock was true. And you may now ask, how are you supposed to know this? So let me explain you why. So I was able to print out this or these names right away. So there was no cooldown, okay? Means the script didn't get passed to this check. Otherwise, it would set enable to true and it would wait 1.5 seconds. So we would have waited 1.5 seconds to make each move's name be printed out, okay? But that wasn't the case. Means it has skipped this check because it did fail to unlock the move. Here we go. That's my theory. So I have now moved the print inside of the check, and now let's see if it still works. So if I was right, then nothing should be printed out now. When I press Q and R, as you can see, nothing has happened. Means I was right about my theory, and everything works fine now. So let me now increase my strength level, and let's see if the opposite case does work. So let me revert it back to 10. As you can see, everything is unlocked. Now let me hit Q. Heavy Punch does work. Let me hit R. Party Table Kick Course does work as well. And the cooldown works fine as well. There you go, guys. So that's the way on how you can create this system right here. So let me now go through I3 and V3, okay? And what I have actually done right here. So the idea is very similar to what we have done inside of this GUI. So if you have watched this episode, then it might be helpful for you now to understand what we have done here. So we have this variable right here, okay, which determines the case that the player has failed to unlock the certain move, means it is not able to attack because the code for the attack is wrapped inside of a check, which requires this variable to stay false till it gets to this point, okay? And it is false by default. It now needs to stay false while moving through this code. And that's the difficulty for this variable. So let's go through this code. The first line right here determines a variable which refers to our stats folder. So the folder which contains all of your stats. So your strength level, strength EXP, speed level, whatsoever, guys. Now, come on, what has just happened? So this loop right here, I3 and V3. So what are those? It is a in pairs loop, first of all. And I have called them I3 and V3 because I'm bad in giving names. So this is just index 3 and V3, and it now loops through V. Okay, and we have already dealt with V, so we should know what V is, and V is this table, or the content of this table, let's say. Okay, so it does loop through the content of the table, but it itself is within a loop which loops through the content of the table, you know? So that's a little bit confusing, let's say. So up here, we have already said that we are going to loop through the content of this table, okay? Now down here, we are doing the same once again. But why? It is pretty easy. So we want to gain access to this level information right here, okay? So I3 or I2 are very similar. So so when I say very similar, you might ask, why did you change I2 to I3 then when they are similar? So I3 and I2, so you know that I2 is either strength level, speed level, or key. Therefore, I3 is the same, okay? So why did you change I2 to I3? And that's easy because we have already filtered out strength level and speed level, so those two indexes up here. So we only want the index key to pass down. And right here, we want to filter out strength and speed level only. Okay? So that's the reason why. Because we want to gain access to the other indexes as well in order to filter them out. So we are not able to do anything with this key index down here because we have used the key index up here. Okay, so there is no other use for that. We now want to gain access to those requirements which have been filtered out up here. Therefore, we need to loop through for a second time in order to regain the access. Okay, and we're now filtering out those two from this one. Means those two do pass and we just ignore this one. Okay, now those two do pass. Okay, strength level and speed level. So what happens now? So the way I'm filtering this out should be well known to you. So I have explained a lot of things about the string sub, even in the last episode in which I have created this thing. Okay, so what happens with strength and speed level once it has been filtered out? So we are now referring to our stats folder, and now we are looking for a child which has the name strength or speed level. Okay, so that's the first requirement. We want to check if there is any instance, means any stat, called strength or speed level within our stats folder. That's the first requirement. The second requirement is that when there is such stat or such instance, we want to know if the value of that stat is not greater, that's important, not greater than the requirement. And if that's the case, then we are not able to unlock the move because we are below those requirements. Okay, so we are basically checking for the opposite case. You guys are probably used for checking or comparing two values and then continuing the if statement or a check or passing the check when your value is greater than the other one, than the requirement. But we are basically doing the opposite case because we want to know if the player has failed to unlock, means does not meet the requirements. And if that's the case, then this failed to unlock value turns to true. Therefore, this check is going to fail. Therefore, this code is not going to run. Therefore, especially this code is not going to run. Therefore, the player is not going to do the move it is supposed to do. All right, yeah, so that's actually it with this system. And the good thing is that it now works totally automated. You can now fill this table up with some other moves and just sit back, relax, and make this system do what it is supposed to do, okay? The only thing we now have to work on is the creation of the move itself. So let's go inside of, where was it? Was it movement? No. Where was it? Guys, where was it? Come on, explain. Where was it? Guys, explain quickly, come on. No, like for real, where did I, where have I put? Oh, yeah, it is inside of here. Totally forgot about that. Okay, so as you can see, we now have to. Okay, yeah, task doesn't seem to be a good name for this argument. So let me call task with a capital T. Okay, task. So we now have to add the next move inside of here. So else if task equals heavy punch. Then, and now we are going to script the heavy punch. Okay, one more important thing. If you want to check for this task, okay? So I have now written heavy punch. So the string you put right here has to be one of those, okay? And has to be written in the same way, okay? So make sure that it is written in the same way, and yeah, then you should be good to go. All right. So this heavy punch right here is basically pretty easy. We only need to have a punch animation, which is the case. So I just want to print out all of the animation IDs we are playing while doing the basic comment. Okay, yeah, so we have already gotten our punch right here. So that was actually my attention, so I only wanted to get this punch animation right here. Okay, so that's the punch animation, guys. And we are now going to clone... Wait. Guys, what is happening? So I'm gonna copy... Actually, I'm gonna copy all of this. Okay, I'm gonna copy all of this. Now I'm gonna delete some stuff. So we are going to delete this animation table because we only have one animation which is being played, and that animation is not going to be random or anything. So we have a constant animation ID right here. Constant means it is not being changed or anything. So it always stays the same. We can now get rid of this comment. And yeah, so we can also get rid of this one. So our strength EXP does increase. That's good. Our walk speed is being lowered. And yeah, this whole raycasting thing is being created, so I don't think that I have to explain raycasting to you, because I have did in the video in which we have created this combat already. We can get rid of this combo int value because we won't work with combos for this case now. We will keep the sound, the animation too, and the cooldown, of course. We'll keep this take damage thing. We will keep this defense thing. And we will add this right here. So that's about the body velocity. Okay. Now let's get rid of those things. And let's test this out. Let's see how this is going to work out. Also, let me increase the damage by 1.8. Okay. So as you can see, when I press Q, nothing's happening. Now let me increase my strength level to 10. Okay. Now when I do the heavy punch, as you can see, this guy right here, this is being flung right away. He receives a massive amount of damage. And yeah, that's actually it, guys. So that's it for this video. I have now successfully showed you how to create this system, which works totally automated, which allows you to add moves pretty easily through this combat skills module script table. And we have now scripted this heavy punch right here. Of course, we have used the components of our punch right here, of our basic combat, but that's not forbidden or anything. And I haven't gone into that much detail, I'm honest, on this one right here, but I expect you to know about this because I have already explained this pretty detailed, in my opinion, in the combat video, okay? But if there's still any question regarding this heavy punch script, then leave me a comment and I might explain it in the beginning of the next episode, which is about to come in a few days, guys, okay? Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, share this video to all of your friends. Give me feedback in the comment section, guys. And yeah, take care and see you in the next video.